Dr. Manada Gamage is the founder of, is the managing director, founder, and the principal consultant of Intelligent Solution Consultancy Private Limited. He is in the ICT consultant of Data Protection Authority of Sri Lanka. He is a senior academic visiting in many universities in Sri Lanka and overseas. Manada received his PhD in ICT and Communication Engineering from the University of Electrocommunications in Tokyo, in Japan in 2006. Apart from being an academic, he is a telecom engineer, an ICT consultant, and a well-known trainer in ICT industry. Has been a research person to APT since 2012. He has over 25 years of experience as a telecom and network engineer and ICT expert. So let us welcome Dr. Manada Gamage for delivering the keynote speech.
Thank you, Pavis, for the great introduction. So good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank APT and CRA for inviting me for this event. And it's a great pleasure to be here. This is my second visit to Iran. I was here in 2018 also in a similar program. So throughout the presentation, please keep the complete slides on. We will talk about the shaping of the digital and interconnected future, the trends, and in the technology. So first, let's see when we talk about these trends. I believe the technology trends are mostly driven by the internet. So we first take a look at in the very few slides at the beginning, we will see from where we come from and where we are today, and then we'll move to the future. So I would like to first talk about how the internet got evolved, because that has a great resemblance with the evolution of other technologies. So we started this internet around 1990s. We call it Web 1, where we just downloaded things from the internet. Then the Web 2 is more interactive, where the social media came into the picture. And the Web 3, probably we are in Web 3 now, which is more personalized. So we all know what they mean, and the internet is very much personalized today. For example, when I wake up in the morning, they know that I am in Tehran. So they give me the time of Tehran, say good morning in Tehran and whatever. So they know where I am. They know it's more personalized. Sometimes it's annoying, sometimes it's good. Then after that, we see this Internet of Things, IoT, where, please, don't cover, hello. I want to see the slides completely. I can't do the presentation if you cover half of them. Yeah, thank you. So IoT is connecting things, which is, I would say, as a telecommunication engineer, providing communication service to people is much easier than connecting things, because humans have a brain and things don't. So the network requirements are very different to provide this IoT. So things to talk with things is a great achievement in a way, and we are evolving that further. Also, with all this, we are so much connected with this internet, and it's not a tool anymore. It is a style of living, a lifestyle for us. Together with this, we see all these technologies like mobile broadband, which has evolved together with the internet. And today we experience 5G, and we talk about 6G as well. And then machine learning, and then AI. Also for computation, from virtualization to hyperconverged infrastructure data centers with a lot of software-defined data centers and automation. And now we are mostly talking about the cloud, hybrid cloud, multi-cloud, and so on. Then the analytics. So it's more of data-driven decision-making world today. We would say the next biggest resource in the world in the next generation is not going to be oil, but going to be data. And then the blockchain, which is providing more security and confirmation of things that you talk about. So those are some of the technologies. With all this together, we are into fourth industrialized revolution, right? So that's what we are experiencing today. This 4IR has done a paradigm shift, which means it has a great impact on the different verticals of the enterprises, the economies. Say, for example, I've seen in many literature that, for example, India as a country, their exports in IT is almost about 200 billion, whereas the largest oil exporting country also in that region or slightly above that. So we can see that the economies are changing drastically with this fourth industrialized revolution. And also it redefines how the industries work, how the smart manufacturing is happening, how the digitized economies are doing things, how you provide products and services, and mostly all of us are affected with the job market. We all are probably scared of what would happen to our job with AI coming in. I would say nothing would happen. Obviously, we also have to evolve. So if you look at this ICT evolution, the trends, I would say it's ICT or digital disruption. It disturbs because of this massive changes enabled by this digitalization. It's a huge change, and it disrupts the existing well-established business models. It changes how we create value. It changes how we interact with people. Now, the way our parents interacted with the people for business and for personal reasons is very different to how we do it. And our next generation, our kids, they do it in a very different way, right? So I'm sure you all have experienced this. So we are changing. In the business world also, it's changing rapidly, especially during the COVID pandemic time. A lot of people who were reluctant to go online for work all started working from home. So those are the ways that we interact. Doing business is changed. And all of us have to learn, otherwise we will go out of context. And we have to, more than anything else, we have to change our attitude and our thinking. If not, we would see these things as a huge challenge. But I would say, if we really look at it, it's not going to be a challenge. We can convert these challenges into opportunities if we try to innovate. So innovation is a must as individuals, as organizations, as a society, as a country, as a world. So to convert these challenges into opportunities. These are some of the examples. I don't have to go into details. You all know it better. We have seen these things for the last decade or two. Uber, Facebook, Alibaba, and Airbnb. These are some of the best examples we have been using over the decades for this disruption and innovation to overcome that disruptions. And also, if you don't evolve, if you don't innovate, we will be like Kodak. We will lose our existence in the world. These are some of the examples that disappeared because of this disruption. And we also have to understand that whatever we are doing today probably would have been impossible in the past. But with our R&D, with our knowledge expansions, with our innovations, some of the things that were impossible in the past are made possible today. Similarly, what is impossible today will be made possible in the future. And also we have to understand, sometimes people think, oh okay, I'm very big, I'm a big company, we have so many resources, so much savings, so much, but you know, in this fourth and fifth industrialized revolutions, big is not the important thing. How fast you innovate is the most important thing. You can have a bank in a big country with, say, even 10,000, 20,000 or 50,000 branches, but a new bank coming in with digitalization, with a mobile app and virtual banking and all that might go past that big bank. So this is happening in every vertical, every industry. So it's not the big fish eat small fish anymore. It's more about the fast fish eat small fish. So we all have to move fast. Innovation, again, is the minimum required thing in these industrialized revolutions. So what is this fourth industrialized revolution? If we look at it more, basically it redefines the society and the economies, as I said earlier. And some of the key characteristics, one of the main characteristics is we know all these technologies. If you take, say, big data, AI, the list that I mentioned earlier, the VR, AR, that is virtual reality, and augmented reality. Those are heavily computation required technologies. But now in the fourth industrialized revolution, when we see a system, probably we cannot separate each and every technology there because they are so much fusioned, they are converged. So that's the biggest thing that we see in this 4IR. And then a lot of automation is coming up, a lot of robotics is coming in. This is where sometimes we think that human might not have their jobs available in the future, which I don't think that will happen. Obviously, the job might get changed. So we also have to evolve with that. And then this data-driven decision making is a key to survive in this world now and in the future. So the impact to the employment again, yes, there will be an impact, but all what you have to do is to evolve our education to suit this, as well as individually we have to evolve ourselves, probably upskill ourselves, or we have to reskill ourselves and so on, depending on what you do, what you like to do, and so on. Economy is definitely having a huge impact, as I said earlier. And then one of the most important things is that how these ethical issues are coming up, privacy, security, how much of fake things that can destroy people, countries, societies, and so on. So we need to learn a lot of things. We have to discipline ourselves to make use of this huge industrial change. So there will be challenges, but also we can convert most of them into opportunities. Now, if we try to compare this fourth industrialized revolution with the information era, so I would say that third industrial revolution was the first information revolution. So we already passed it with the internet. And then with the artificial intelligence and the IT innovations coming up, we are now into the fourth industrial revolution, which is the second information revolution. So in this, we have already started seeing that data is the next or the new oil. And also, we hear this term, cyber-physical systems. Already we are there, and that is actually getting matured, and the fifth industrialized revolution will be the next, which is with the cyber-physical systems. We will go into that, and we will see more closely what is these cyber-physical systems are. Now, this is just in nutshell to show you that how the industrialized evolution, it took about 100 years to move from 1 to 2, another 100 years to move from 2 to 3, but it's about 30 years to move from 3 to 4, and maybe in another couple of years, that is in another 25 to 30 years, we will move to fifth industrialized revolution. So you can see that time gap. So which means that technology is so much dynamic and things are changing very fast. So we are today at fourth industrialized revolution, but in that we have these technologies which are very much converged, fusioned, and but we are moving towards more harmonized human-machine collaboration. We have all these robotics, we have people. Now it's time to provide some human aspect to these machines, to these robots. How successful we can do that is to be seen. And then we see all these smart homes, smart classrooms, smart education, smart cities. We are going to see super smart societies. And then all this to be done with, sustainability is very important. So the sustainable development is more critical, especially when it comes to energy, power, the environment, food, and things like that. And then it's more of focus on the well-being of multiple stakeholders. Could be the users, the customers, the companies, economies, countries, and so on. So all that have to be taken into account. And again, it's more of personalized, which means you are going to know where something is needed, how much, and how to provide it to that, rather than just pushing it to everybody. So that's how we are going to make it sustainable. That's how we are going to make it more efficient and effective. Now, then it is a human-centered and super smart society that we are expecting in fifth industrialized revolution, which balances out the economic advancements with the social, the solutions we provide to the social issues. And that, again, it highly integrates the cyberspace with the physical space. Now, physical in the sense, we human, we are analog. We feel analog, we see analog, we talk analog, we hear analog. So people will be always physically analog. But the systems are going to be digital. We can't operate things in analog. So, and then we are now talking about everything is going to be connected, cyber. So cyberspace should work with the people. So that is what we meant by the cyberspace systems, the cyberspace and physical systems. So we will see these cyber-physical systems where people, the things, and the businesses, all that will coexist. So physical part will be there as well as interconnected with the cyber. Now, if we take some examples to understand what is this cyber-physical system is, which is already there in small, very small scale, experimental level, POC level, and pilot project-wise, but it's going to be huge in the next few years. So cyber-physical systems which provide in almost every vertical. You can see in many verticals here, we see smart agriculture like greenhouses, and then water distribution and management, where it could be below the earth, underground water, as well as water given to the people for use. And then if you take transportation, like autonomous vehicles, driverless vehicles, we see a lot of places they have experimented with driverless trains, so that's happening. Those are examples of cyber-physical systems. And in the health sector, you see this remote scanning, remote surgery. That means you can use the robotics, robot arms, and the doctors would operate them, especially now during the COVID time, for example, when you want to do a scan, when the doctor doesn't want to get closer to the patient, you can do it with a robot, something like that. And then smart grids for electricity, where you can sense and understand where you need more power at what time, and then send the power, electricity to that place without sending it to everybody and making it waste or unused. Again, the manufacturing has become, and it's becoming much more smarter and automated, where you can have sustainability at a very high level. And then smart homes and smart cities. So those are some of the examples. Some of them are already existing, but of course, long way to go in this cyber-physical system. So all technologies are moving towards that in the fifth industrialized revolution. I want to go a little bit further and try to understand it easily, a little bit more. So it's cyber-physical systems is which integrates sensing, computation, control, and the networking with all these physical objects and the infrastructure, which is that cannot be changed because we human are physical. And usually these things are connected through the internet. So if you see it, this is a typical feedback system that we all learned in the undergraduate courses, where you have a physical process, and then you have an output, and then you have a feedback and provide some sort of a controller for that to adjust the output. Any simple system is like this. So which means in that triangle, you can see the computation, communication, and control. So that's also the same thing. You have computations, which is the big data, AI, lot of computations. And then control is the feedback and giving a different output, adjusting the output. And then communication is the internet, where you use 5G or optical or whatever to do this communication. Now, we can see these technologies. Say sensing is actually IoT. You have sensors everywhere to collect the information, where you get the control, that data is fed to controllers, where you use for computation data centers or a virtualized environment or a cloud, depending on the place and the need. We will use that. And then you can see analysis is done, which means big data analytics, where large amount of data. Blockchain is used to verify the data, and robotics and automation is also used to provide a feedback. So then the IoT again would function actuators to give the different output or kind of a feedback to the physical process or the system. And then networking will be basically 5G or could be even fiber, or even in some places satellite communication. So this is what it is about the cyber physical systems. It's a convergence of all these technologies and more to come as well, right? It's not possible for us to separate which is which in a few years to come. So what are the benefits of these cyber-physical systems? When I say cyber-physical systems, now you understand it's not just one technology. We are talking about all the technologies that are today and also evolving to the fifth generation of the fifth industrialized revolution. So basically it improves the efficiency and the reliability. That's one of the key things. So if you take an example, the industrial control systems, where real time you can monitor and provide a kind of a control to the production processes, where you can reduce the waste, you can improve the efficiency, productivity, and so this is very important for any manufacturing process, where you need to minimize the energy, waste, and so on. And then the enhanced safety. Example is autonomous vehicles, where you have to get the feedback from all the objects that you are passing, and then so a lot of sensors and actuators are involved, and then you have to control it. So that gives you, I mean, because the safety is very important, like you can do remote surgeries and, as I said earlier, remote scanning in the health sector. So plenty of examples already we have. Then the greater flexibility. Best example is smart grid. So the smart grid is where, as I said, you try to understand where the need is, provide a more personalized service rather than pushing it equally to everybody. That is not the requirement. If you do that, that's very inefficient and we waste the resources. So therefore, for greater flexibility, smart grid is one of the best examples. And then, of course, enhanced monitoring and control, where your real-time monitoring and control of physical processes, that's a common part in any CPS, cyber physical systems. So how to adopt these things? Probably, I think, I don't know, I put this slide here, but I initially thought because of the time restriction, I thought I would skip this. Slides will be available to you. You can just go through that. Probably this is a little bit too much for this kind of a presentation, so let me skip that. Then, what are the future trends of CPS? Obviously, increased integration with IoT. As I said, IoT is a key in this because all the sensors will be connected through the internet, and also the feedback analyzed, and the change that you need to do in the system is also given through the actuators using IoT. Then the greater use of AI and ML. So that is another important factor. Some of these things we will discuss tomorrow and day after in our other detailed sessions. And so which is about data analysis and using data-driven decision making. Then increased adoption of cloud-based CPS. So today, I mean, everybody is looking for using cloud. Maybe 10 years back, if you talk to a banker, oh, no cloud, nothing, it's very insecure. We are very important financial, we have financial transactions, but today, who cares? We all are using cloud. Governments, in fact, are using public cloud, but in a way, they have kept it within the government. So it's, even though, say, we know the biggest public clouds are like AWS, Google, and Azure, but they provide kind of private clouds for certain big governments. So it's a public cloud, but used by the government in a secured way as a private cloud. So that is also there. And then when you move your data and computation from one public cloud to another public cloud, that is also possible today. Technology is there. Even from your in-house data center, you can move it to a public cloud or any public cloud. So hybrid and multi-public cloud is also there. So but the thing is, we can do all these things, but do we have a real solution for security and privacy? That's the most important part. So we need to come up with these regulations, and one great example is the GDPR, that is General Data Protection regulations by EU. So they are talking about the personal data collected and processed by different institutions. We all know GDPR was the first of this kind in the world, so considered like the Bible of this privacy and data protection, which was discussed for almost a decade and implemented in 2018, and today, very big scale, they are implemented now in Sri Lanka. Also, we just started about a year or two before, there is an act now for data protection, which will be implemented early next year, somewhere in March or April next year. And right now, there is a data protection authority being formed. And So this is happening everywhere in the world, I know. We can make use of that GDPR concept and most parts of it. So if you look at this GDPR a little bit more closer, we will take a better look in a different session. Here we can see some of the empowerment is given to the user, the owner of the data. If it is my data collected by the bank and processed, I am the strong person according to this. So they have to get my consent to process this data, and I have the right to ask for what kind of things they would do with my data. And I have the right to move, when I move from one bank or one hospital to another hospital, take my data and go. And then I have I have to access my own data with them at any given time. So those are some of the things, right to rectify and remove data. If I ask them to, no, I don't want to be your customer anymore, please remove my data from your database, they should be able to do that. And then limits on use on how. Now we know that sometimes it's confusing because big data analytics is collecting more and more data. AI is using more and more data as much as possible to get a better answer. That's what AI is. Machine learning is that. But here it says you collect only whatever you require to do. But this is about the personal data. Also, it has the ability that you can collect this data to build models. And if you can make it you can identify them as some particular person's data, then it's okay as well. So there are a lot of leeway given in these regulations because we don't want to stop innovation and the technology is moving forward. And then if there is a breach, you have to inform the owner immediately. And there should be a balance between personal data, how you do the business as well. So EU is very much matured with this, and it's very good for everybody else as well. When you have this kind of secure environment, it's good for the economy. So if we are talking about digital economy, this is a must. So it provides a level playing field for everybody. And it's just one set of rules in the whole EU. So, why I put this slide is actually just to let you know if we also can have something like this for the APAC region probably, that would help the digitized economies in the future. And then, so these regulatory matters will be risk-based approach. It's not just predefined kind of regulatory method, but it will be more of risk. You evaluate the kind of risk you can have, and then based on that, you have a regulation. So if you look at these cyber-physical systems, you have all these technologies: cybernetics, mechatronics, again, cloud, IoT, embedded systems, networking, AI, ML, then most importantly, international collaboration and R&D. So if you look at some of these things a little bit more, cybernetics is where you study these technologies like our own nervous system. It's a fairly old one. Cybernetics term is, in fact, in 1948. So it is interaction of all these other technologies. You can see information theory, artificial intelligence, data analytics, mathematical communication theory, operational research. All this is involved when we say cybernetics. It also shows the huge area with mechanical, biological, and social, physical, cognitive systems. So this is where we need to understand all those technologies, and it's very difficult to define each technology in a circle, like it's a blur area. Then the mechatronics, again, is also a fusion of a lot of technologies. You can see all computing, digital systems, microcontrollers, simulations, sensors, actuators, modeling. So, I mean, all these things together is mechatronics, robotics. Evolution of data centers is also like that. We started virtualization around 2000, then moved to automated hyperconverged infrastructure, and now we are going into multi-cloud environments. And now the important thing is this data sovereignty in, apart from the security and privacy, data sovereignty also is important when it comes to cloud. We know that because of these different jurisdictions are available in different countries, and is it possible for us to have one country's data hosted in a cloud where the data center is in a different country? How this will affect the legal system and so on. And so the cloud technologies, if you take, we have all these private, public, I've already talked about it, and then all these platforms, software-defined platforms, and then important part is, can we ignore the protection and privacy? I don't think we can do that. So if we don't have the protection and privacy and the proper regulatory environment, it will be a dark cloud. But so the silver lining is actually the regulators updating themselves. So the typical challenges that we see in these cyber physical systems are, of course, scientific challenges because of these multi-paradigms coming in. Then the technological challenges because of the complexity in all the fusion technologies. Then economic challenges, definitely it's affecting all our business models, and therefore it's a disruption, as we said. Then the educational challenges. Now, how on earth we are going to educate everybody to do this? This is not about IT, this is not about technology. Even to do farming, even to do any other thing, you need to know how to use this technology, where to use it, and so on. So it's not just about being IT head or IT manager or engineer or whatever. It's everybody should know, like we all should know a language to talk to each other. Everybody should know this. So how that's a huge challenge to do this. And then the legal challenges, I mean, that's, again, it's a huge barrier for innovation. Then, of course, societal challenges where you need, I mean, that's where the attitude comes in. We have to overcome these things. I think, in conclusion, I would say we are already in fourth industrialized revolution, and soon we will be in the fifth industrial revolution, probably in another 3, 4, 5 years' time. And as I said, data is so valuable, probably in the fifth industrialized revolution, that will be the most valuable item for the digital economy. So we need to address data sovereignty, privacy, and protection, which we have already started doing. Some countries have gone further, some regions have gone further, but some are still at a very infant level. Some probably haven't even thought of. So we need to have the laws like data protection and privacy. And then, but one thing is very clear, we need to adopt these new technologies. There's no doubt about it. And it is very essential to have these new technologies being adapted in order to do a digital transformation. And technologies it's a fusion of technologies. You can't separate AI from automation, from robotics for IoT and whatever. So ultimately, I think we are talking about cyber-physical systems, which is the everything, where you give a human touch to the machines and try to make them feel like we feel. So it's more personalized, more sustainable, and with the human touch. And I think in order to achieve this, education and regulations for next generation is a must. So that's the key, uh, as I see. And luckily, I am on both sides of the both. I mean, I'm an educator as well as I work with the regulators as well. Uh, I also would like to pay attention to think it like unified regulation, which means, I mean, it's something that I very recently started talking about, looking at the context in Sri Lanka. For example, Sri Lanka, we have the Telecom Regulatory Commission, we have a ICTA, another ICT agency to look after the government ICT work, regulator, you all know what the TRC SL is doing, and then we have SL-CERT for security in cyberspace, and then we have now a very recently formed Data Protection Authority. So what we've done is, with the requirement coming up, a new act is formed and a new organization is formed. But I don't think that is the right way to go. Everything is converging, therefore we should have one, probably a digital regulator or something you can call it, but all these organizations should be together as one organization. They can have different functions. Probably we have to revisit those acts and see how all these people can, because we can't separate telecommunication from IT, from IoT, from big data, from private data or whatever. Everything is converged. So we'll have to go for this unified regulation. Especially every country after COVID is going through a recession. Sri Lanka, officially, we all know that almost bankrupted right now, and we are trying to come out of it. So cost cutting is a must. How can we do all these innovations in a country like that? So those are the areas where we can cut down the cost. Say, for example, if you have 5 institutions today, each institution has a board, each institution has a chairman, a director general, each institution has a HR department, finance department, admin department. So those are common functionality. So if you merge all these things, you can reduce the cost drastically. You don't need 5, 6 officers. And also it is coinciding with the evolution of the technology and the trend as well. So with that note, I would like to conclude my presentation, and thank you very much for your time.
So thank you, Dr. Gamage, for an insightful keynote presentation, which is very much perfect for this workshop on recent trend and technologies. So basically, as you have seen, that he mentioned about the cyber physical system in details, and also 2 important things. First of all, the education important for the next generation, for the next generation networks, as well as the regulation and then unified regulation. So that's actually the point that we need to bring out through this kind of workshop, that for future, what you need to do to tackle the recent trends and technologies, especially when you go to the cyber physical systems.